potentially something that will work well. And I like the flexibility of this for them. It's going to come down to how well it's played, we have not seen a Paquito in a very long time coming up in the jungler, but it is something that I've harped on.
So, taking a look at the draft, it does look like that Grok is going to be EXP lane. Wondering if he's going to, you mentioned it, Private. Wonder, does he go damage here? Does he pick up the Blade of Despair first item? Does he go all in? This is not a new hero to Chicken. He's comfortable with it. It also gives them some nice crowd control, some nice engage and disengage. Out of the 3 drafts that we've seen from BTK, this one is probably one of my favorites. It feels a bit more comfortable for everybody. Mobazane, I mean, yes, the Paquito is unheard of, but it does have an insane level 4 power spike. The damage is definitely there if they can capitalize on the laning phase.
And that's what we're going to be keeping a close eye on, right? The laning phase. How are they going to be able to effectively keep their side laners alive and also get these objectives? How are they going to be able to get into these turtles? Now, there's a lot of things working well for BTK's draft. You have the Aurora, right? The crowd control, especially this early. You have Shark able to close the distance and able to be the initiator for these setups. And speaking of setups, look at BTK. May be able to close the distance on the top side. That's a 4-2 engagement possibly on the way. There goes the CC for the taunt, and Zia securing the kill on Cold World.
Man, and Cold World, I mean, it felt a punishment there. 4 members of BTK going in, Mobazane very quickly, and that's the strength and the burst you have out of the Paquito.
Yeah, that's the BTK you want to see, right? This is the early game that they normally bring, and they do this early game gank onto the gold lane. They don't get the gold lane, but still finding Cold World kind of slows them down a bit, because on the Cho, we know Cold World wants to be aggressive. On Mark Cootie, on this Valentina, they want to be in your face. They want to stay on the opposite side of the river.
Yeah, and that's going to be huge for BTK, right? Leading the momentum for the early game, keeping CLOUD9 behind as we are now seeing this turtle spawn in. Will they be able to take this objective? You are going to go ahead and see right now everybody getting ready for the fight.
Cold World trying to be a nuisance here. They're going to see if they're going to be able to maybe punish him before this turtle comes up. Starting to gather some positions. Great aside from Cold World, but it does look like they're not going to really focus. Fried Chicken taking some heavy damage.
Yeah, it's going to get a G Kondo to the face from Cold World. Now going to go back to safety. CLOUD9 in a great position, zoning out the Bloodthirstykings from this turtle. Chicken finding an early grave. Nact able to slam down with the demonic force to shut him down. And you are going to see best player claim the turtle.
You know, I feel like
Chicken just had to throw that wall in to kind of try to reset the turtle. Unfortunately, not only did it not reset the turtle, but it put him in harm's way, so they got a kill along with it.
I feel like once Mobazane leaves that, right, the rest of the team should have just backed off, not even gone for that turtle. But they go for it. They lose 1 member for it. It's now 1-1. We're back to ground zero. CLOUD9 with a little bit of an advantage. But now we're already seeing, I mean, Cold World just in their face nonstop. Do they let him do this, or do they just ignore him?
I mean, there's not really much they can do if they can't close the distance. The mobility is just what makes Cho such a threat. We've seen him prioritize a lot this NACT. I mean, look at that. The G Kondo for the knock. Wild Tart play, though. Shark able to find Cold World, able to punish. Best player finding Fried Chicken. That's going to be a 1-for-1 trade for both sides. But Nact winning the heart of the battle with the demonic force, forcing Mobazane to the tier 3 turret.
A much cleaner game, but you still see CLOUD9 able to answer back every single death with a kill of their own.
Yeah, Nats 1-0-1 now. Back ahead in these rotations. Look at the top side.
Ooh, easy shadow kill. Does connect, but stacking together with Sharks, not really going to deal much damage.
Yeah, and with that, he's going to have to disengage. And a big pressure now starting to mount for both of them. Cold World just has so much vision all around the map. Mobazane can't go anywhere without the side of CLOUD9 knowing.
Yeah, so, I mean, who's really got the lead right now, bro? Like, if CLOUD9, does BTK have this breaking point? Like, first, do they get a big power spike around third turtle, first lord, you know? Do they kind of need to wait it out here?
I mean, that's a good question. I think it works for Zia, though. You got to look at where the kills go, too. I mean, the marksman technically got a kill for the Bloodthirstykings, which is going to kind of help him scale as we progress to the mid game. But right now, another turtle in play, and you're looking at Cloud9 trying to get that position, trying to wrap around for the setup. But this time, the full 5-man of BTK for the denial. There goes a little bit of crowd control onto Cold World. While Shadow comes out, and we Shadow kill as well. But BTK stacked together to share the damage. But there comes Nact like a train, wrecking into Bloodthirstykings with the demonic force. Very low. Hoon able to take down Nact on that aggressive play, and will force him out the turtle pit.
Ooh, I do like that they all collectively decided that they were going to try to go ahead and chase, not just half of them on the turtle, but now it's kind of leaving it open. You see Cold World trying to find himself an angle.
Yeah, so, I mean, at this point, Cloud9 able to back off a bit, able to disengage from the possible fight. mlbb even starting to do some more damage. Zia starting to do some more damage.
Ooh, not going to lead to anything, though. Able to get out with a sliver of HP.
Yeah, and right now, I want to say a much better, much smoother game for BTK. Don't quite have the gold lead just yet, but they have the vision, even with Cold World basically dancing around. Oh!
Ooh, Flicker wild charge play, but Basic outmaneuvers the 2v1, and Cold World joins the party.
Man, and just like that, man, Basic, we've talked about it before. Love him, hate him. He has improved so much this season.
Yeah, I mean, Basic at this point has just been able to dodge everything that BTK tries to bring at him. He finds the backdoor answers. And BTK, they have the damage like mlbb deathless right now. He just needs to actually get that first kill. He needs to get that second kill. He needs to be able to connect with his team.
Speaking of connecting, 3v1 on the bot side, but Zane able to delay the push for the tier 3 turret.
Yeah, and I mean, he right there, he was trying to get the damage onto Basic, kind of ignored the minions a little bit there, but now we have a 3v1 under the tower for Fly Chicken.
All right, nothing gonna happen major. Best player farming at top side. Taking a look at the gold, Cloud9 getting away, but let's take a look at the items. Best player has Hunter Strike, Malefic Roar, Zane on the other side. Has Hunter Strike, working on the next one. Maybe going into Endless Battle here, get some true damage off. On terms of tanks, Cold World up against Shark. Cold World, I mean, is kind of taking a more roundabout route here. Has taken 2 deaths, is a little bit slow to the party, but still, just that alone, the fact that it doesn't have a full item complete, but is still in their face so much, speaks volumes.
Speaking of volumes, lift the split push on the top side. Basic able to take a turret for Cloud9 and a Spear of Destruction. Decides not to go in, and mlbb and BTK will take the turtle.
Yeah, they get the objective, but man, already starting to create the seeds of that threat up at the top with Moscow Basic there. We saw from the last game.
Ooh, Nact taking some heavy hits right there. Will be able to get back to safety. Shark trying to join the battle with the AOG, not gonna connect.
Yeah, but at least does kind of create space for his team so that Cold World doesn't try to force down another big response pick. Zia also now getting some offlane towers. So BTK running smoothly right now. Even though they're behind in gold, they're winning out on turtles. They're able to at least keep up in these fights right now. And their composition is only going to get stronger as this game moves forward.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing for me right now, is that they were able to kind of hold the early game. They don't really have to lean so hard into the late game because they're holding their own right now. And a much better draft, a much more comfortable BTK. But man, you can't say enough about Cloud9 when it comes to some of these interceptions. When it comes to kind of getting picked off, there's always a reply coming out.
And speaking of replies, Chicken on the top side, numbers not in his favor. And Cloud9 quickly pursuing. There goes the wild charge. A last second save. Will be able to go back. Nat's not able to close the distance. And Chicken able to sustain himself.
I'm not going to lie. Discipline coming from Basic. I expected him to go forward into there.
Speaking of forward, the way the Dragon and the Force combination, Zane able to outlive 2 ultimates. And back to the base he goes.
I think at this point, the Aurora pick is, it could be the big trade pick as these games move forward. If BTK is able to win this game, that Aurora, whatever side it's on, has been detrimental to how these teams can play it out. Hoon has been able to pull off some big saves, been able to output damage the same way that Mark Cutie was doing it before.
Yeah, the name of the game is CC here, especially when it comes to some of these like frontal assaults coming from both of the opponents here. They don't really have a backline dive. Ooh, comes in with a kick.
Yeah, both sides trying to set up for this Lord. Is still surprisingly 10 minutes in, 3-3 on the scoreboard. Definitely playing for these objectives, but with this objective on the table, who will be able to turn it in their favor?
I mean, I don't know. With right now, BTK doesn't want to try to play slow around the Lord. They always seem to want to rush it. Let's see if they can pull it off.
Yeah, Cold taking some damage, able to sidestep the wild charge from Chicken. A little premature right there, and now buys Cloud9 a little bit of room in the Lord pit.
Yeah, and the Lord reset here. Both teams are looking, I want to say Cloud9 a little bit more comfortable in there, looking to try to start a fight here. Goes in!
With the quad shadow, Ouija shadow kill as well. Not going to deal the final touches on to Shark. That's going to be a lot of utility baited out. That'll buy BTK some time for that Lord push from Cloud9.
And I mean, Lord's still up, right? Lord's still sitting. It's still first Lord. Both teams taking their time. A little bit of a dance going. Both junglers going back to get buffs. Best player's going to need the purple. Another big Frigid Glacier comes out, so that's 1-0 down. But look at Zane. I mean, we question the Bakito, but the damage threat is definitely there.
Yeah, but look at Basic on the bot side.
Ooh, yeah, he's trying to get that split push in while the team is fighting out here.
Yeah, you're going to see the demonic force drop down. Mobazane able to claim the Lord for the Bloodthirstykings, and Basic yet to find a turret for the trade-off. There goes the Luigi Shadow kill and the Quad Shadow. Best player trying to go back to safety, but going a little bit to the wrong direction. He should be okay, though. He should have the Quad Shadow in time. Basic will take the tier 2 on the bot side.
Was it worth it, though, right? Like, do we think the tower was worth the Lord? Depending on what BTK gets here, that's when that question will be answered.
Yeah, and this is kind of something I brought up before about some of the early games from Basic. It's like, yes, the split push can be viable, but is it always viable when they probably could have used him for some of those fights?
Yeah, and right now you are seeing a great push from BTK. With that Lord on their side, we'll be able to maintain the pressure for the advantage at the 11-minute mark.
I mean, so far it's been viable, right? Like, so far it has worked, but BTK needs to take advantage of that, right? They need to know what's happening, and that's when they rush the Lord, which is what we saw last time in this past Lord. So maybe that's the real answer. And if they can time those moments right, then they turn it into not being viable, right?
Yeah, and that's the biggest point there when it comes to not being viable. But, I mean, they're doing such a great job here right now. Still kind of hanging behind when it comes to the gold lead, but the macro is on their side.
And speaking of macro and micro, both sides are going to be fighting it out possibly in the mid lane. A lot of utility wasted right there, but here goes the engagement we were looking for. Zia able to find Nact in the heart of the battle. Hoon finds Cold World, 2 members dropping for Cloud9. Maybe more with the Ouija Shadow kill, but Mobazane will take down best player, but not before he finds Chicken. Basic able to respond back. Will take down Shark. That's going to be a 3-2 trade. There goes the immune on a Basic. Need to get away. Back to safety. Zane will not follow through with the chase. Both sides very low. And a Spirit Destruction almost down the middle.
We were talking about needles through threads earlier. That was a needle through a thread, Private.
Yeah, they're a collective sigh from the rest of BTK as that just whiffs just narrowly in between all of them. Because I want to say Basic would have been a huge factor there. Probably would have been able to take at least 2 of them down.
I mean, knowing Basic, he would have gone for it, right?
Yeah. You know, Hoon's still laying down. I would have thought he would have stood up by now. But right now, BTK, they're providing a lot more pressure than what we've seen, at least in Game 1. Game 2, it was building up, but Game 3, we're starting to see it make a difference.
And, you know, best player just locked in another item. He's 3-1-1. We're starting to see that damage start to really work out for best player. He just got a couple kills. Yes, the big trade happens, but it is starting to happen. The pressure into the backside is becoming worrisome for BTK. And even though BTK does seem to be winning out, at least getting the extra kill in these fights, there is still a lot of threat, and they have to play correctly.
And right now, Cold World doing a great job trying to bait out abilities going into some of these pushes. The rest of BTK looking to go ahead and start on this objective.
Yeah, and I mean, the difference with this one, though, is you are going to see Basic possibly for this engagement, or is he going to go in for the split push again? Last time he did it, he was able to take a tier 2.
Yeah, I mean, so at this point they dance, and for the first time in several games, we're seeing the dances be a little bit slower, right? They're playing more around the Lord. They know they need control. Take a look at that bot lane, but wait, conceal play.
Yeah, they saw Shark very low. They decide to engage. Wild Charge connecting from Fried Chicken. Only going to knock up Basic, though. He will respond back, taking down Chicken. Best player finding Mobazane. The turtle round play with the Luigi Shadow Kill. AOG. Shark trying to get away. The way the Dragon stopping Zia in his tracks. Nats able to find Zia, able to find Cold World. Nats getting the double. Find Shark, and Basic will find Zia. A full wipeout. CLOUD9 able to sustain themselves again. Takes down the Bloodthirsty Kings.
16 seconds left on Fried Chicken. They might be able to push this.
Hey, you wanted Basic in the fight? Well, now he's in the fight, and he's making things work.
Yeah, and right now, looking to try and secure a game number 3. Flawless series so far for CLOUD9 and BTK, yet to find an answer.
Victory!
What